Dr. Anne Webster, member for Mallee. You've got some good news for us today on the agriculture visa front.
Absolutely. Look, it's something that has been requested and hammered by industry for a long time, and the last 2 years I've certainly been putting my back into it as well, and now the National Party has secured the agriculture visa going forward. So it is a really wonderful piece of news, and it's actually broader than we originally thought. Like, I've been particularly fighting for the horticulture industry, but it's actually broadly across agriculture. It's also in the meat industry. So there are many sectors and industries that will benefit from the ag visa.
Now, there was some scepticism from the National Farmers Federation not that long ago that there had been many promises an ag visa would arrive, but we've actually got a date, haven't we, now, of when these visas will be available?
It will be in place by the 30th of September, and I am very, very pleased about that. So that is around the establishment and the workings, if you like, of the ag visa itself at a government level. Bilateral relations are important, obviously, so the ministers for DFAT and Minister for Home Affairs will both be working on those bilateral relationships with the countries concerned. And the expectation is at this stage that those who've already expressed an interest are the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore. So obviously they're the ones that will able to be, hopefully, inroads made very quickly.
And some people would be familiar in our broadcast areas that there's been some Pacific Islanders who come in these kind of arrangements. They're coming from effectively COVID-free environments. I mean, that's going to be one of the challenges, isn't it? Making sure workers have quarantined and aren't bringing COVID into Australia?
Look, it's absolutely true. The quarantine component remains largely with the state. And the state has, I can remember I wrote to Daniel Andrews over a year ago, I still haven't had a response about quarantine and the need for quarantine measures for the ag industry. I've written to him again 2 weeks ago, obviously no response. What we need is a quarantine system that is going to work. The federal government has stepped in and is paying for the structure at Mickelman. And there are so many options that are available, whether it's quarantine on farm, whether it's quarantine in hotels. Let's remember that the states have said we want to halve our capacity to bring people in. So hotels are half full. There are methods there. The Victorian government used Tasmania to bring in some workers. So we just need to see a significant level of interest from the Victorian government in order for our industries here to benefit by this ag visa.
Yeah, the visa's one important step in the puzzle, but whether it's the grain harvest and having enough workers for that, or horticulture and fruit not rotting on trees next year, the other part of that equation really is making sure we can actually get them in time for when they're needed.
That's right. So hence the bilateral relations with countries who've already expressed an interest will be worked on. The visa arrangement is, as I said, in place by the 30th of September, which is fantastic because there were those who were trying to push it out till next year. We just need everyone to step up now and do the work. The industry will be consulted. I know that there are questions. Fundamentally, it's based on the existing seasonal worker program, Civic Labour Scheme, which I've said all along, and they'll be the mainstay still for meeting workforce shortages. However, we will be adding to that these additional countries. So everyone who's in the industry knows how important this is. So we'll be working very hard to ensure it happens. I also want to point out, Ricky, that it's for skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled workers, and will provide permanent residency pathways and regional settlements. So all of these things need to be developed completely in conjunction with consultation with industry. So that's also the next step.
So for those farms and processors listening today who are looking at 30 September thinking, gee, that'd be handy to get underway with this, I assume their industry body might be across it, but is there somewhere they can get more information?
Well, At this point in time, they can certainly contact my office and I'll pass on whatever we can. The consultation process, I suspect, will be with industry peaks, but I may be wrong on that. I've certainly called for more than the industry peaks to be involved. However, of course, that takes longer, and what we really need is for this process to get underway as soon as possible.
And so the best way to get in touch with your office?
Look, they can email anne.mp@aph.gov.au, or they can ring the office here, which is 03 502 15987.
Thank you, Dr. Anne Webster. A very important development to make sure we can get the crops off. Look forward to more updates.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ricky.